Yay!
Great
Can
to
you hear
see.
me?
Hey there. You said grab yourself a beverage, a smoky, and a blankie.
Get cozy. It's that siesta time, you
a,
know? Like
a beverage, a smoky, a blankie. I love how you started that. How you start off.
thank
Oh
you.
man, coming in with that energy. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I've been off live for a minute, so I'm like, this is the and what you said today in class, something about today is like the first day, and that's it really feels like today is like a brand new template.
Mm.
Mm.
Mhm. How does it feel like that for you? Because I love that expression. Like today is the first day. How does it feel like that
It
for you?
feels like I'm not following a mold.
Mm.
Like I don't know, like the clay's not dry, so I don't really know what, and I'm the one deciding which way it goes.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. A blank slate. Like you get to, write this new chapter. It's a blank page. You know?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a saying, and do all your friends call you Luna?
No.
What name do
Um
you usually go by?
well, I go by Luna, but I depending on what phase of my life I met you, you might have met me as Emily. And that's fine because to me it's not really like what the name is. It's like, are you open to the being? So
Hmm.
you can call me Luna, you can call me Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I feel like I might be even transitioning out of Luna. So
Wow.
yeah.
So Emily, from Emily to Luna and then back and forth. You go to different phases, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember there was something that I saw that said no one in your life can hold the pen. Like in your book of life,
Hmm.
no one else can hold the pen. Like we're each writing our own story in.
Yeah.
And you determine how you begin, and like every day is a new page, every moment a new stage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen, Emily, that show. There was a show called Breaking Bad. You ever seen that TV show?
No.
It was like an older TV show, Breaking Bad. There was a character named Walter White, and they were dealing I think they were dealing methamphetamines, or they were dealing drugs. But he said this message to one of the characters that I never forgot. He said, "Jesse, today is the first day of the rest of your life." He said, like, now, what are what are you gonna do with this day? Is it gonna be a life of oh no no, oh no no, not me, like, of cowering away, of shying away from your greatness, of never once believing in yourself, or is it gonna be, will you make the rest of your life the best of your life? So I love that you give yourself that opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Because the qigong definitely helps keep the energy in flow.
Hmm.
Because in today's world, in today's climate, I feel like it's really easy to stay stagnant. So I found that qigong keeps the booty tight, the money right, the flow in sight.
You hear this? Yo, you hear this? It keeps the booty right, the money tight. It's all right.
Yeah, and
Oh my
it's so
gosh.
simple. You also said it today. You'll never regret spending time on yourself or like investing in your health, and it's so true. I never regret turning on qigong.
Oh man, you cannot go wrong. Keeping
Yeah,
it strong. Oh my God, like, have you ever been one to write poetry, or were you ever a writer?
I'm like a writer with constipation.
What do you mean by that? What do you?
um, I feel like lately I've been more expressive in my art, but my whole life, I shied away from, I guess, my trueness and my realness, and I wasn't ready to be that vulnerable.
Mm,
Because if I create, it really has to come from within, and um, and it's like you're giving birth, you're changing in the process, and then you're putting out into the world, and the world isn't always as open as you or receptive as you.
Right.
So like lately I've been getting into actually making music, learning how to make music. I have a harmonica.
Mm.
I play the banjo. I'm out in
Mm.
Gainesville, and there's like a huge history with like the South, like blues and things like that.
Yeah.
So like the universe is giving me these opportunities,
Hmm.
you know, like they're always there,
Hmm.
and do we show up for them?
Right.
So
I love that. I love that, Emily. Opportunities for expression, fuller expression, opportunities for, your own progression when it comes to these forms of creation, creativity with music, creativity with, I like how you said giving birth. I don't often hear that, but it is, sometimes you might find yourself like, pregnant with an idea that you feel like you want to give birth to. But it's interesting that you gave that analogy of constipation. Why do you feel like there are times where you feel more blocked when it comes to the creativity?
I wasn't I wasn't comfortable with myself or my truth. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm not ready to face something
Hmm.
and like express it. Um, and then lately, I've learned we have the liberty with how just like we can somewhat choose like how we give birth. We can also choose how we share art and with whom.
Hmm.
We don't have to broadcast it on the world. We don't have to be like Kanye. You know, we can be more selective and have friends over like a fire and share art
Hmm.
with them. Or you can be like Kanye and just go all out and share it with the world in a huge way.
Hmm.
But we are free, and I guess that was a liberty that I had to learn through the process of life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So learning that liberty, as you were learning that liberty, do you feel like there were times where you felt the world wasn't ready for your realness, or were you not ready for your realness?
Well, I think like it was me because it's really you at the end of the day. So
Okay.
yeah,
So it was you feeling like you weren't ready to just fully come out in certain
yeah.
areas? Okay.
Yeah, because then I would have to face other things. I feel like it's almost like once you're on the channel of truth, like we can choose what frequency we resonate
Mm-hmm.
on. And when we're like comfortable with the truth, like right now, I've had so many experiences like I feel like the cocoon is melting into the butterfly.
Mm.
And um the truth feels so good that I can't lie anymore. Or I can't be in like, you know, where clarity is the new high. You know, before it might have been like, I don't know, like a soccer player with blue eyes and like whatever. Now I'm like clarity. Like or before, like for myself, like there had to be like some kind of physical attraction with people. Now if I can be what I call mind naked,
Mm.
where you can be free to just flow and like answer questions like this
Mm.
and not worry of like how you're gonna react, and know that you're like asking questions to get to know me, not to like put me down or like tear apart what I'm saying.
Mm.
These are all like, this is how I know it's a new day because this is a whole new experience for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Emily, as you're speaking, and I love that you're just, coming forth with what's inside you and just letting it be known, effortlessly. Nabiha, she said, I love your nails. Like, are they a certain? Oh yeah, she likes her nails in those
Oh
different
yeah.
colors, like expressing herself
She,
in different ways. Like she's never just a single, it's like multi. Yeah,
I
yeah,
follow her. She's awesome. Mad love to Nabiha.
yeah. Blessings. What you said, clarity is the new high, you
Mhm.
know? That is amazing because to have that perception of clarity, to the purposefulness, the meaningfulness, like clarity is the new high, opening up to that form of consciousness, you know? I love that you enter into that mode, Was it ever difficult to have that clarity? Was it ever hazy? Did you ever find yourself kind of finding challenging moments of really opening up to that perception?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not easy because our environment, I feel, is like literally trying to do the opposite. It and if you absorb your environment, like we become products of our environment. Like I argue that a lot of people in jail or trial or whatever, like they're products of their environment. At the end of the day, you would have to sue the government or who's providing these circumstances, because they own people. Like we do psychology, but then we don't apply the psychology on the people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just so much where we don't pause and like put the pieces together. So, but things like once I feel like you become, I mean, some of us keep that, some of us lose it. We all have different experiences. Like we're all going through the woods, through some of us with a helicopter, some of us are like walking the trail. There's no wrong way, and we are like, the more we like own and like love on our uniqueness, I feel like our path changes from something like a hailstorm to like, oh, like this is nice. And yeah, like for me it was difficult, it is difficult sometimes, especially because I feel like in my path I live very vulnerable, and that's when I can like move. Well, maybe that's for everybody, you know, being vulnerable and just being the real you in front of others. Like there's a
Definitely.
that's like a huge, I mean, you're giving someone your full presence. There is no bigger. I know you were posting about like the power of the mind, and like that is real, our power, you know, and what we give attention to. Even if it's a thought, that
Right.
thought is like now a
Right.
seed. And if someone else believes it, that bitch is
Yeah.
growing.
Yeah. Oh, they say that, Emily, like what you focus on the longest grows the strongest, you know? So when it comes to focusing on that frequency or what you view frequently, you know, in that channel of truth, when you're talking about the channel of truth and that bandwidth of frequency, you know, people talk about, okay, the channel or the frequency of joy and of love and of kindness and of compassion and all these different channels. Where do you feel the channel of truth ranks on that spectrum for you?
mm, I'm not sure, like on the scale.
Yeah, but it feels like your truth is almost like your authenticity, like who
Yeah.
you are at your core.
It feels more like it's bigger than a specific channel, because it feels more like a different atmosphere. Because it's not to say like challenging things don't happen or bad things don't happen, but the energy in which they're dealt with is just very different. And this is something that I've been noticing in like patterns and things. Like it's not what we do, it's the energy we do it in, you know?
Mm.
Because when we try to study other people's life paths and how they made it to success or how they made whatever, like we're doing ourselves a disservice, because we came for to do our own path. Like we can admire and we can learn from them in some aspects, but to like try to mimic their steps, it ain't gonna work for us, because and then we're gonna get frustrated because it worked out for Michael Jordan, but you're not Michael Jordan. You're you, and you're just as special with just as much magnitude to cause an impact on this universe. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
I agree. You have just as much magnitude, just as much magic, just as much magnetism, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, it never feels like a risen, or they say it never feels like a prison once the energy has risen, you know. Once you come to that understanding, it's
Exactly.
it's amazing, because when you were talking about, Emily, the metamorphosis of the cocoon melting into the butterfly, you know, I remember somebody described it as is like, it's not like the caterpillar just sprouts wings, it becomes a whole new being, you know.
Yeah.
It dissolves, it melts, and then it liquefies, and then it becomes something totally completely different. So what do you feel like was one of the most significant metamorphoses in your life that occurred for you to transition, you know?
Mm, There were a lot of challenging things in the last 3 years. A lot of things that both showed like it's like I my lungs expanded and then also there was a big
Mm.
collapse. So um like in tarot, I became very familiar with the tower card,
Mhm.
and um so I it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but
Yeah.
it was a lot of that energy, I guess, like of going through the waves. Like when I was a kid, I loved the ocean and I loved getting tousled by the waves because I let them do it so much that I went through every range of wave in the spectrum. The ones to like you don't know if you're gonna breathe again, to the ones that like barely do a thing,
Hmm.
and I became so comfortable, and so I'm not, and I learned to like read the waves and like the current,
Hmm.
and I appreciated and respected that energy. So
Hmm.
I feel like I went through a lot of things in the last 3 years, maybe all of us have, and I mean in some respect that like showed me all that I could be, and then all that I or the opposite, and then now I feel like a lot of those things also took off the chains and like thought process. Like I divorced thoughts are just um and like the thought beliefs are just thoughts that we married,
Mm.
like commit to them, and then now the story has to fit instead of allowing things what they are be. And that, like we limit a lot of energy like that, so those experiences like kind of did that. And then also with that liberty, I realized like we get to choose what channel we are
Yeah.
on, and like or what energy we want to experience or like take things in,
Hmm.
because there is really no bad and good. It's like what you how you allow it to affect you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. Beliefs, thoughts that we've married. That's an idea right there. I love that. I love the concept. Like when you're talking about we get to choose, like what do you have to lose? You get to choose, right? So when it came to choosing, Luna, when did Luna come into the picture? When did that word kind of like what was the vibration of Luna that you felt you needed at the time towards now where you're feeling like no longer aligned, with that. So I'd love to hear.
Luna came about when I started owning my likes and my journey and following like my heart's calling without with like less resistance. And we and I was obsessed with the moon, just like, and I have a relationship like a lot of us do, but it's almost like it's just so intimate, and I always admired her. And when I started studying the phases and aligning like my energies, like just going, this is a reflection, like sometimes we're supposed to chill, it's okay to chill, and it's okay to act, and then when you let yourself have that natural flow, you're just a different creature. Like we are no different than nature. We just have these brains that we could be using to our benefit instead of to our detriment. We're letting others use that brain power. So, like, we can learn so much from nature as a reflection because everything they can do, we can tap in and do it also,
Right.
you know? And so, someone actually called me Luna because I had just moved to Miami, and I was just like always talking about the moon and what phase the moon was. Like people would go, instead of asking me how I was, they'd be like, "Did you see the moon? Do you know what the phase the moon is in?" And yes, like when I like something, that's like what I talk about. And um, so someone called me. They were like, I don't know that girl's name. She was talking about the moon, Luna. And I was like, oh, it happened. They said it. You heard it. That's my name now. And it just felt like I felt more me. I felt more myself. So
Wow.
yeah.
And now you say that, you might be kind of transitioning out of that phase,
Yeah.
The moon, goes through different cycles, different phases. So what phase do you feel yourself floating towards at this moment?
Ooh, good question. Uh, definitely like a full moon
Hmm.
phase. Yeah.
So more full.
More full, more free to be like in the light and be seen and be out, um and there's like that clarity when it's the full moon because you can see even in the
Yeah.
darkness.
Yeah. It's illuminating.
Yeah.
Very luminous, very luminous. I love this that you're shining the light, you're letting that light be reflected, and there is emotion that comes with the moon. Like you were talking about being in the waves and being unafraid, to be on the edge, on the precipice of that wave, almost to the point where you're like, oh, you're coming back up and then playing with that, because playing with nature, being in nature, being of nature. I love that you talk about this. What do you feel is the greatest illusion, or what do you feel gives that illusion of separation when it comes to us and nature? You know?
Ooh, we are inundated. I mean, pick your poison. We're inundated with separation tactics. And I feel like that could already be the war that we don't even realize, because war was nothing ever but a
Mm.
tactic to promote fear. You know, you can't really have a war on terrorism because that's like a made up ideology. Like we can't really define it. It's not like one person. And so, so it, you know, there's just everything kind of leads you to separation. And
Mm.
nothing's really supporting the alternative of like, hey guys, work together. Let me give you guys some time to get together and work together. It's more like the more separated we are, the more we're easier to control, because then we can the magic happens when we
Right.
get together. Like
Right.
I can come to realizations on my own, but until I show up to a conversation like this
Hmm.
and be my real self and allow for like the alchemy of the past and the trueness of the moment, um there's just like more magic that happens when we join together.
Absolutely.
So but,
Absolutely.
but
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. There is more, disconnection and, you know, destabilization when we're divided. When we're divided, it's easily to be, you know, in that mode. But what do you feel gives you hope for the future? What do you feel lets you see, something brighter on the horizon?
uh, that's a question I ask myself all the time,
Yeah.
because when you read the signs, it gets very like dark and whatnot. And like this path is like so interesting that it'll have you questioning everything. And I feel like that's also healthy, because we should know what we stand for and what it means to us. So then no one can tell you otherwise.
Right.
Like no one can feed you something that it's not. Like you have to know you and your what you stand for. Um but I don't know if it's like, I think that's like the one thing about me. I have like an innate ability to find the flowers and the turds. Like any situation I've been in, I will find like my brain just instantly goes into solution mode, and just like, I don't know, I feel the magic, and I feel like the magic gives you
Yeah.
that spark, and if you are that spark, then that is hope, that is
Hmm.
faith. We're here, I feel like we're here to do like something so simple that's so natural to us, and it's just like to let the light be.
Yeah.
um and not all this other like stuff, like get a career and and
And
like a job and insurance and payments and all that stuff, like, or what is a credit score,
right.
you know
Right.
that but we're really just here to shine our light and to exist and to like feel our power first. Like we need to like go back to some basics
Hmm.
and like,
Fundamental. Yeah.
yeah, the fundamentals.
Hmm. hmm Because, even having a mind to support that, to have a mind to see the flower in the turd, or to see the silver lining on the clouds, or you the sun is still there. Even if you can't see the sun right now, it doesn't mean the sun is not there. It's not shining somewhere. So, it's interesting. What do you feel prepared you to have that perspective? Like, what do you feel got you ready to have that for the collective?
Mm, I feel like when you tap in, because it feels like a
Mhm.
remembering, and I'm trying not to like add much narrative to it. I'm trying to just like feel in the basis, what is it? Like, is it something I'm born with?
Yeah.
Because I've had it since I can remember, but it feels like some things we just remember because it's in the essence of who we are. We're literally made of the
Mm.
stars. Many of us have been here on Earth many, many times before. Either way, we are all a melting pot of different star races. Like that. It when we look back, we would just laugh at Earth because it's so we've done this before, and here we are, and a lot of the things we just remember. So then it's like when you're in that trueness, you're like, I don't care if I'm crazy because crazy right now feels so sane.
hmm hmm Do you feel like that consciousness, like that would give you confidence, because this is not your first rodeo? Like, oh, we've done this before. I've been here before. I'm made of the stars. Like, that's so far above. Would you feel even more love knowing you're so far above the circumstances?
Yeah, I feel that when you pay attention and you notice, like when you start putting together the dots, and like it just, I can't deny it because it's like things that you are like maybe, but when you go no for real, like you have to just trust yourself and then receive the messages. You go, there's no like, I mean, when you're on the synchronistic path, or like when you're aligned, it's just your life is a movie.
hmm
Someone just hands you flowers, they invite you to the breakfast, you wanted to have biscuits and gravy, and that's what they're making. And then someone invites you to go to paddleboarding, and you've been trying to go to paddleboarding for a whole month. Like the things just start working out, and I feel like that's just our natural flow. So the more we remember and we own who we are, and then we also have to understand what it means to hold space for others to figure it out. And because there's a big transition, I feel like, happening,
hmm
you know, as the light gets lighter, the dark gets darker, the shadow extends. And so, like, being open to the full spectrum,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Being open to
Yeah.
everything and attached to nothing,
hmm
and still participating in this game of life.
At the same time, finding that balance. Has it ever been challenging to feel that openness, knowing that there were two sides of the coin, knowing that as there is more light, it casts a larger shadow? Has it ever been like, challenging just to embrace that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
easy. But in it, I feel, is where all the opportunities and possibilities exist.
Mhm.
So, like holding all that and just seeing, because then in relationships, it turns from you against me to, oh, it's possible that you're right and I'm right.
Mhm.
And that both of us just completely see, it's like that. There's been so many like memes online, like the gray dress and the gold dress. What do you see? And and then just to be able to treat each other with love always, and not let like the trivial, like I feel like we'll see it a lot in relationships,
Mhm.
um because as we can expand our perspective from like ourselves to others, and then, oh, there's all kinds of experiences experiences happening out here. Like we can feel the same thing, we can experience the same thing, but the way we experience it will be totally different depending on our perspectives.
Right.
You know, and then your perspective might trigger the hell out of me. I'm like, how did you get there?
Mm.
Or it might expand my mind depending on how then I take, you know what I mean? Like there's just so much in the details of how but we're the curators of life.
Right. Right. So, like you said before, loving the uniqueness, finding joy in the uniqueness, how there's so many different ones, there's infinite different ones. And when you were talking about questions and how questions were the answer, like questioning everything, and how sometimes it's good to be skeptic. Like questions can lead you to other places. What was one of the most nagging questions, maybe from childhood or maybe from adolescence, or what was a question that just really nagged you in life that you felt like you almost couldn't get past for a long
I think it was like, what if I was right? Like, what if, because for a lot of my life, I followed others' paths
time?
and what others wanted
Hmm.
for me. And it wasn't until I go, wait, what if I'm supposed to actually like I made a list of all the things I wanted to do before I die type thing. And then I go, okay, why don't I start now? Like, and then that road just led me down the yellow brick road of, yeah, you can live like this.
Hmm.
Like you can live like this and curate the life to you and harness the energy a different way. And then again, it doesn't mean challenges don't happen. You now have a bigger awareness, a bigger toolbox
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing. So
absolutely. So when you wrote that down, that's very interesting. I love that exercise, Emily, because
mhm.
writing these things down, making it plain, it also brings it up in the brain, like there's credence to the saying out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. When you're not focusing on, or you're not even thinking about it, it's not even in the realm of your reality, so to speak. So for a
Mhm.
lot of people, I myself included, there were a lot of times, I mean, many years, where I just kind of gave myself excuses or reasons on top of reasons of why I couldn't do what I actually really wanted to do. And then it was like that voice came and it was just like, well, what's stopping you? Just do it now. Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
You know? So you said when you wrote that down that there was a voice, or what was it that after that, when you wrote those things down to do, it was like, well, why don't you just create that now?
Yeah. I think it's like, I think that's just like that part of you. It might be, some call it your higher self.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like we can always hear it. It's when we deny it that we run into interesting situations or maybe detours that we didn't need to take.
Mm.
Um, because I feel like it's it's that voice that will tell us something and then sometimes we don't want to hear it,
Yeah.
or others don't agree. Or you, like, I always provoked a certain response in others when I certain things excited me, and so I like, this is because I'm big on like studying the brain and
Mhm.
whatever, and so like I learned from the stimuli that it was like I got negative response, so then I just like had this negative, I'm like, well, like my energy could only go so far because I had to stop and like recognize how my brain thought of it and then change that and then let the like energy keep going. Like, okay, now what's the next step? Instead of checking with others or recognizing that they felt, because some of us are aware that we can feel other people's feelings. So they felt scared, and so I thought I felt scared. Like in your formative years, it's really important, and then we can feel each other. So the way we feel, and then if we lie about it, we're gaslighting each other because we're gaslighting ourselves. It just really that's like there's so many ways you can go boof here on this planet, but I think that we all can hear it. It might be, it might be our ego in a different frequency because our ego never goes away. It's just when we're a lower frequency, it has lower frequency thoughts, and when we're in a higher frequency, and our ego just might be like, okay, we feel good because we're doing the thing we want to do, and then it's always like, come on, expand. How does it get better? And then when we're low frequency, it gives us like all kinds of bad advice.
I see.
Because it's not happy.
So it's wherever we are on that spectrum that gives us that information, wherever we are in that field of vibration.
Yeah. It's a working theory.
No, I love it. We're working it out right now. Like doing the equation, on the board. We're piecing together. Yeah. I love this because when you're talking about the ego in that way, and how everybody has something within them that almost wants you to continue, it almost wants you to, it's like pushing you or pulling you or prodding you towards your passion or towards something that you desire. But we don't all kindle that fire. Not everyone kindles that flame within them, and has that sustained within them.
Yes.
So that's interesting that you say sometimes you might feel fear, but it's not your fear. It's
where I learned the stimuli, whatever. Yeah.
right. And you're saying you might be empathic on the level that you're picking up someone else's vibe and you're thinking that it's something inside,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not even your vibe.
Yeah.
It's like the surrounding tribe.
Yes. The tribe I grew up in was definitely fear-based. Like,
Okay.
oh my God. And it's funny because just because something isn't labeled or isn't how it's portrayed on TV, it doesn't mean that it's not real for you. Like, it wasn't until later when I could step back and look at these experiences and go, oh, like that's what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, deep fear based. And I am very like spontaneous, and I feel like as a kid I got things like, we're not like the way people were about money. I was, money, we had a family that got along. I was like, dude, this is worth gold. Like, why are you stressed right now? Why aren't you enjoying this? And so, but then, you go through life and you figure out who you really are, and like you try on different thought processes, and then you live in different ways, and then you figure out, okay, now I want to like fine tune my frequency, take all this knowledge and curate life so that it makes sense for me because I've tried all these other things.
Yeah.
you know and it's cool because I'm a testament that you can change.
Mm-hmm.
You can change your thought processes. Like, we are not destined to be any one way.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of brain power, and you can do it without drugs. Like, you can simple practices.
Yeah.
You can do it without a lobotomy.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Because what do you feel was the thing that ultimately had to change for you to find your range, for you to like step outside of that frequency? Because there's a lot of people that are in that fear-based, tribe. Like you said, the fear-based tribe, they see that in their surroundings and they never feel like they're grounding with what they truly want. But they stay in that for a long time, and they never really escape. And they feel like this is my fate, you know? So what was the thing that finally gave you the faith to take that step? Yeah.
I mean, I think that the fear based, even when I was in like the fear based, it never fit. It didn't, like, it never sat well with me. It was like I, I'm really good at hitting bottom and then going back up. Like, my being won't let me just stay there.
Like a
Like a
basketball.
basketball. Yeah, like it's so. That's such a good question because I never thought of this.
Yeah, good to think about, you know, like how. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like some people are generally comfortable there. Again, we've all come here to experience different things, and some of us it is suffering. Some of us it is murder, some of us it is debt, and some of us are here to experience those things. So that's why we can't judge others on our past or say you should be over here. Like we should just be okay with I'm over here and you're over there, and you know that's it.
Mm.
And
So
um
you never felt like, you never felt like, okay, Emily, now I'm more aware. You just felt I'm over here and you're over there.
no, I think the awareness comes with that we can be on different channels and like exist on the same radio. Like I think cancel culture is kind of ridiculous because energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. And so cancel culture is just like, I feel like that to me just screams like, unhappy ego,
Mm.
because when you actually graduate from something, it no longer is a thought of yours, and you're onto you're really onto other things. Like the people that come on and they're like, "F this person, f that person, I'm over them." Well, you're not, because you're talking about them. You're giving them energy. So, um, I feel like you with more awareness comes peace. So why don't we could like unlock the, I guess, like the benefits of existing in a higher frequency. Like you have more peace, you have clarity. It doesn't mean that you don't see the reality of humanity and the existence of what's happening. Like there's all kinds of suffering happening. Like human and historically humans love to like murder and do crazy things to each other. Like they're learning some interesting things that I'm not privy to, thankfully, in this lifetime right now, and I don't want to be. So, but that's just like what humanity has always like been here exploring. And when we like just study our patterns and learn from them, um, we can see these connections. And again, with that awareness, you receive peace, clarity, understanding, compassion. Like there's you just really feel at peace to be yourself, and like you don't have to go outside of yourself to get anything. You just like everything is like it's like the formulas
Mm.
change. Instead of I want something, I have to go make money to get it. Now it's I want something, okay, what energy can I alchemize to attract this to me? And why, if I'm aware that it's outside of me, so how can I be more like it to attract it to me? There's so many ways to work with our magic. We all have different superpowers.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I love how expressive you are when you're talking like this. Like you're like dancing. You're like, how can I be more? You're like, it
Yeah.
just oozes out of you. It just comes out of you. It's like,
Yeah.
man, the movement. There's a music in the air. So, as you were speaking just now, Emily, we have Mark Lorenz. He said, I think the best way of escaping toxic habits is introducing new habits whilst gradually reducing the negative habits, still loving yourself if you indulge in negative habits. How does that resonate with you?
I I think there are many ways to do things. Like some people are able to do change cold turkey, but I feel like the building blocks and how it's built matters, like the energy you do it in. So definitely loving yourself throughout the process.
Mm.
Guilt and shame, they don't really serve us. Learning and loving ourselves and allowing for the experiences that happen to be what they were. And but definitely like introducing yourself and then showing. It's almost like you have to show yourself, like, okay, like we have to stay hydrated, right? If I put water in a fancy glass, I will be drinking it all day. And just feeling divine.
Mm.
So yourself. You can cater life to you. So if you need to incorporate a habit for your benefit, you can, like love on how you would someone you're dating.
Mm.
If how would you show them love and introduce a new habit? Like, um, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So like dating yourself, you're on a date. You know, you got your cup, you know, you got your glass, right? When in doubt, pinky out. When in doubt, pinky out, right? Sip, sip. So, you know, Nabiha does that as well.
Yeah.
Nabiha, she'll put her juice in a wine
Mm.
glass, you know, and she'll sip on her juice real smoothly throughout the day. So I know she approves of that message. And you know, when you were talking about patterns and observing the patterns of the collective and absorbing that perspective to understand, okay, human beings, like this is how they operate, this is what they've done throughout time, throughout history, in memoriam. Does that give you a sort of, you know, peace to know that, okay, it's just going to keep going on like this? When you observe those types of patterns, does that give you more peace to know that that has been the pattern?
Yeah. I guess in a way it does. It kind of it makes it realize that we're if we're not in our awareness, we're just really you know how like the ants follow each other and they're possible to do the death thing, like the death walk. Like they'll just if they're caught in a circle and no one breaks the circle, they'll just keep walking until they die.
Mm,
So that's one aspect of humanity. However, we're also here, we exist, and if we're able to see the patterns, and that means that we're able to act different.
mm,
Um, I believe, and there's like also other patterns that with different awareness comes. Um, so yeah, it kind of like takes off the load. Like, yo, it's not easy to show up here on
mm,
Earth. This is not an easy task. Like knowing that we're these superpowers and then being in these human bodies and you know we're like frustrated, we don't know why, and we're trying to get along with the people here, but it doesn't work sometimes, and like everything feels backwards and we're just trying to like everyone really is just trying to do their best. You know, like everyone really is. But I mean, imagine if the art that we saw was nourishing to the spirit and soul.
mm,
Imagine if like the laws actually were here to promote mind, body, and
mm.
health, safety and security, and like just like, imagine if we flipped it. And I feel like as a collective we should spend a lot more time imagining, because the minute we imagine how we can't create things if we can't even imagine them.
Mm,
And many of us, because we are inundated with these things, we accept them as they are and we don't take the time out of our day to imagine the opposite
right.
and then feel that. And when we feel that, and this is why I love hypnosis, once you feel it in your body, you now can go create it in the world, and you understand what it is when you feel it. And it's because we're really just these energetic
Mm.
devices, you know?
Totally, totally. You've done hypnotherapy?
Yes.
Wow. Can you speak on that? Because I'm fascinated with, you know, that realm of the unconscious mind and just the whole subconscious and what hypnotherapy can do. Can you speak
Yes.
to that?
Um, I love this stuff so much. I got into it because I wanted to study past lives. I got into it for like, you know, very selfish reason. And then I also admire Edgar Casey, who they call the sleeping prophet. He would put himself in a hypnotic state, and when you do that, you are now receptive to all the intelligence in the world.
Mm.
So they would ask him questions and he could answer them. He had like a 80% success rate of he would cure people's diseases, and he was also open and aware of the fact that most physical disease comes from some kind of spiritual, like it's energy first. So he would address both like the root cause. He would address like the spiritual, like okay, well you got to go talk to your mom and whatever, but then take like eat some chicken soup and whatever. Like he addressed both, and he actually in Virginia Beach opened he wanted his idea was to open a hospital where east medicine meets west medicine. So like you would do Reiki before a surgery. He would speak on easiest way to take care of the body. You need massages because as humans we need touch, and the fluids move. You know, you don't eat if you're not, like, he would just say the simple things. And he actually was the first to say that they were going to find things under the Sphinx. Like, he said all kinds of things. Like, they would ask him all kinds of questions and he could answer them. Wow. So since forever, shout out to Edgar. He was like one of my idols. And this is, you know, when you let life take you. And then I go to get some past life regressions and whatnot. And then somehow I end up at a Reiki center and they're offering hypnosis. And actually I'm here in Gainesville and my hypnosis teacher just moved here. So I've been hanging out with her and it's been really cool. And I'll get to the point of your question. There's just is something I care about a lot and I could talk about it forever. So our brains are these beautiful, simple machines that our cell phones are actually, they mirror us and our energy. So just like our cell phone can tap to the web, we can tap into all of intelligence. Many of us have partaken in psychedelic mushrooms. That is what the mushroom energy is doing. We're tapping back into the network of nature. So it's like you're more open, you're more receptive, you're tapped into that intelligence. And so when you feel something once, like when you experience something in a dream, it is so amazing because your subconscious that is open 24/7. When you're sleeping, when you're in a coma, it's always awake and aware and taking in information. So it's really important to not sleep with things on, like the television or like lights and things like that. It's the subconscious is always on. So then when you get in a relaxed state, you can access all those files. You can access everything from this lifetime, from your past lifetimes, you can even go into the future, and you can address things in the body, because just like when you're dreaming, you play out a simulation. It doesn't really matter what the simulation is, because your body is trying to have you work through an emotion and a feeling that you're just not getting when you're awake, or you're like numbing yourself and avoiding it. And so you have a dream, so you feel something, and then you do something with that information, or you don't, and you keep having that dream and it gets worse.
Okay.
So like hypnosis helps like simulate that, and you can do a lot because you're accessing the computer of your brain.
Right.
So that's
right.
In a short answer, yeah.
So how did it help you?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Was there something specific that you wanted to change in the moment or restructure? Because it sounds like, you know, until we make that unconscious conscious, or until we bring those things to the surface, we don't have the necessary feelings that allow us to take the actions that allow us to get the results that we're even looking for.
Yeah. It helped me take action, I guess, on the things like how I told you I learned that the learned stimuli from me getting excited about what lit me up was like fear. So then I had to work through that, because it was something that a pattern. A lot of our patterns, we just follow them like roads on a path, you know. But a lot of us have to go through, we have to trailblaze. You know, it's okay because we have a compass. We always have a compass, and we have a general map. As long as our heart is open and we stay connected to the earth and open to the cosmos, we can navigate this reality. So it helped me overcome, and that's, I guess, something that, you know, we have patterns. And I feel like when you get more comfortable with yourself, and like I already know, I throw myself into the unknown. So then it's like, oh, okay, you like to throw yourself into the unknown. Get excited for it. Instead of like feel that fear.
Right.
And then yeah, you can just play with it in so many ways because you can relax your body. It's really just relaxing your body so you're in the delta or theta brainwaves,
Hmm.
and you can do it while you're walking. Um, it's a lot with like how do you control your breathing? Because when we tense up, we're not getting information, we're not even
Yeah.
processing,
Yeah.
and anything is just information, even
Mm.
pain. They use hypnosis for
Mm.
surgeries. Some people can't get anesthesia, so they get hypnosis. Yeah,
That's powerful.
that's how powerful our brains are. We underestimate how powerful they are. I have to mention this. People with split personalities, and that's people who have like dissociated far enough in different situations where they're not in awareness of their whole. One person can be allergic to something that the next person is not. It's the same body. That's how powerful our brains are.
Wow.
And a lot of it is beliefs we've just swallowed and are not, we haven't, like, we have to renew the contracts.
Hmm.
We have to renew the contracts, like it can be on the daily. We have to do energy intakes and like see where we invested our energy. There's just certain friends that we don't need to keep calling. There's certain habits that drain us. And if we keep, okay, I mean, you can just like pay attention without judgment, but then, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's like the beliefs that we've bonded, the messages that we've married and have not divorced, you know,
yeah, or
or,
transmuted,
or transmuted.
like
Trans-
a relationship can take different
right,
forms. I feel like that's something else. Like it can take different forms, and the more open we are to allowing that, because we're changing as well.
right, right. So you changed the paradigm, Emily. You flipped the whole paradigm on its head. You said, okay, no, it's not fear, it's not nervousness, it's not anxiety. I'm gonna get excited. You chose to get excited in the face of your fear. You felt the fear, but you did it anyway with excitement, you know?
Yeah.
Love that. And your hypnosis teacher is the one that ushered you through that or helped you do that?
She taught me how. I got certified in hypnosis.
Oh,
So, and in doing that, you practice, anyone that started Reiki or teaching yoga, or I'm sure Qigong, you shine the light on you first because you can only help people as far as you're willing to go. So, and I practiced a lot on myself, and then saw like what worked, what didn't. Um, but yeah, it was a lot of self hypnosis.
wow. But before we go, I'd love to hear, like, what did it feel like, or what does it feel like to put yourself into trance? If you could just describe it the best way you could.
It's like you're just alive without your inhibitions. The conscious mind is busy or is like resting. So I feel like that's what it is. Like the conscious mind is resting, and the conscious mind might have like a lot of filters or walls. So the conscious mind, it's like I think why a lot of people drink or do ketamine or smoke. They need they want to relax, so then they can like
Yeah.
be. And it's so hypnosis, you can do it for free.
Yeah.
You can do it for free, and you don't need the drugs. And it's like
And you can't
it's just
see.
powerful. And we can set up a hypnosis meditation.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. That'd be awesome. Because I mean, I love things that are free and you can't OD. Right?
Yeah.
So this has been beautiful. This has been so good. Like, thank you so much. Thank you so much for just being so in tune, being so in touch with yourself that you express yourself in this way. I love that ideas just bounce through you, they bounce off you, they bounce around you, and you bounce with them. You know, this has been a very lovely. I love your bubbly energy. It's very refreshing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for taking the time to do this.
Absolutely. We'll have to do it again.
Yes,
We gotta
yes,
do a round two.
yes, yes, yes.
So much love,
Yeah.
much love. Yeah, and
Much love to everyone who showed up and shared their love. Thank you.
yeah. And if there's any like if there's anyone that's wondering if they can get more information, or if they're wondering if you do hypnosis meditations, like
Yes.
would you like them
Oh
to
yeah.
get in contact with you, or
Yes.
where would you
Yes.
like people to go to get in
Um,
touch?
they can just send me a DM. I'm available.
Cool.
All
Awesome.
right. Thank you.
Take care. See you.
Bye.
Much love.